everyone. Welcome once again to Arrow Discussions. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric, and I hope this episode comes in purple.
I hope it comes in purple, too. Today, we're going to talk about Episode 8, which is called Vendetta, and this is kind of, in a lot of ways, the second in a two-parter. So we've got Helena back, dating Oliver, sleeping together in the teaser. And we've got, I keep calling him Arrow. I guess he's not called that in the show. I should quit doing that. Anyway,
no, he's called the Hood Guy.
The Hood Guy, yeah. So she and Oliver kind of working together through this episode, and he builds her costume and gives her kind of mini crossbow. And I gotta say, I have a lot of mixed emotions about this episode. There's a lot of stuff I didn't like about it. I did kind of dig the idea, though, of Green Arrow giving the Huntress her costume and her mini crossbow. I liked that.
I was disappointed she didn't have a cape. Because the costume was, like, pretty spot on, but I'm like, you need a cape.
Yeah, fair enough.
I want to say right off the bat, I think she did a better job this episode.
Oh, did you think so? I thought it still wasn't working.
I'm not saying it's great, but I think she did a better job this time. But I also think she was given a weaker script this time, so
that's true.
I don't know what that says.
And there were definitely some line deliveries that I thought were way off, just like last time.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it just didn't bother me as much this time. If you ever do like Accounting Crypto Freaks for this, you need to keep a tally of how many Batman Begins lines they steal. Because we missed the one last week where they had...
Oh my god. Revenge and Justice are the same thing. That hurt me last episode, and I
forgot to mention it.
I remember writing it down and meaning to mention it and totally forgot.
And then this episode, does it come in purple?
Does it come in? Yeah, that was another. Can we stop referencing Nolan? Could we maybe get on our own 2 feet here?
Yeah, no kidding. The first time I was like, haha, that line's kind of similar, but like now I'm like, I don't know if they're kind of similar or if they are literally just stealing lines from Batman Begins and Dark Knight.
I think it's too many to be a coincidence.
Yeah,
especially when it's episodes in a row like it has been.
Yeah, and like there's been points where it's not like specific line deliveries, but it's basically the exact same scene. It's weird. It's really, really similar, and it's getting to be like uncomfortable where I'm like, I don't know if you guys know you're doing this, but it's getting annoying.
Well, and the whole "does it come in purple" line was goofy because it's like, doesn't she wear that costume that evening?
Well, and not only that, but it had like 2 strips of purple on it. Like, it wasn't like in purple.
No, the whole thing's not purple. It's just the back of the jacket, which I thought looked really cool. By the way, I gotta say that I really appreciated the fact that she's wearing a mask and that it's not spray painted on.
Yeah, it made me wonder why the hell he's not wearing a mask.
Yeah, it made me wonder that too, because it's like why are you? If she gets to wear a mask, why are you spray painting your face? Because it looks kind of silly. And when you're wearing a big hood, if somebody sees your face and would recognize you, they're going to recognize who you are with or without the spray paint. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Okay, so can I get to my major criticism of this whole episode?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get the ball rolling.
So we have been talking about, since basically episode 1, the fact that he kills people. And yes, whether that's just the tack the show's taking, whether he's going to learn a lesson. He goes on this whole diatribe about how she doesn't have to kill people. Now, thinking about last episode, I realized that maybe he might have a point where she's just killing people because she's angry at them, and he's killing people because he wants to make the city better. But then he takes her on this raid where they take out a bunch of people, but they don't kill them. And he says, look, nobody died. Your father's company lost, millions of dollars, and nobody died. I was like, you have never done that before. You show up and you shoot a guy. And I felt like the entire episode was hypocritical.
I was under the impression that, I agree that it's hypocritical, but I thought that over the last several episodes, he's been endeavoring to not kill people. I thought he had kind of a change of heart about that a few episodes back, and I don't remember exactly where it was now, but it seemed like there was this kind of sort of turning point where it seemed like he was constantly killing people, and then he sort of quit, and it was sort of there was a little bit of talk about it, but it's ambiguous
I never got
enough.
I never got the feeling he quit killing people, just that maybe he didn't do it as much. Because I never got the impression he quit. Like, I still thought he was killing people. I
just think that the show's too ambiguous about it.
It's absolutely too ambiguous about it.
Because, frankly, there was a scene directly after that one or not directly after, but a little while later, where he starts shooting people with arrows, and there was one person that I could have sworn that was a kill shot. Like, in this episode, there was a place where I thought it was questionable as to whether or not he was killing someone. And then after that, he shoots a guy in the... Then after that, he shoots a guy in the leg, and I'm like, okay, so did he shoot that other guy somewhere?
Didn't the episode where we thought he had that character arc, it ended with him, like, shooting somebody and cutting to black?
Yeah, that's right.
And we were like, didn't he kill him?
And then we weren't sure. Yeah, so it's really ambiguous about that. So you're right. Because there's not that much of a difference between what they're doing if he's still okay with killing people, of course.
And regardless of whether he's killing people or not, what they did when they went in there has never happened before. He's never taken down people like that. So
no, and I felt like the show was trying to pretend like that's how he usually operated.
And it's not at all.
No, so that didn't work. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and bring up the thing that irritated me the most.
Was it Merlin?
No, it wasn't Merlin.
Okay.
But, in fact, Merlin was a little better for me this episode, honestly. But, no...
He had his own little mini character arc. Look at him. He's growing up.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It was just less irritating when he was on screen, is all I mean. But anyway, the thing that bothered me the most is that Oliver, and tell me if you think I'm misreading this, because I just couldn't figure out where they were going with this. It seems like Oliver decides that the point where he decides that Helena is too far gone for him to deal with anymore is when she chews him out at the restaurant.
Yep, I had the exact same thing.
What's that about?
I don't know.
Explain to me the story logic of how I'm afraid that you're just using me because of this old thing with your ex-girlfriend translates into I'm too
She's
crazy
gone too far, she has to die.
Yeah. It translates into she's going to keep killing people even though she was totally on with you in that last mission you guys just had where you got her to not kill people, and then you go out to dinner. And like I felt like there was a scene missing or something because I
had the exact same thing. I was like, wait, did I miss something?
Yeah, and then he goes to Diggle and he's just like, well, Diggle, I think you're right about what? About everything. And then he's like, you're right. She's too far gone. She's going to keep killing people. There's nothing I can do about it. But how do you leap from she thinks you're using her with your ex-girlfriend to she's crazy and going to keep killing people? I don't understand that.
It felt like that line in Scott Pilgrim where it's like she knows we suck, she has to go. Where it's like she knows I still have a thing for my girlfriend, I have to get rid of her.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. And I gotta tell you, as kind of overly dramatic as I thought that whole scene was, and kind of typical, and I didn't really care for it. I didn't feel like her feelings in that scene were unjustified.
No, not at all. She was... I'm not going to say she acted completely rationally, because I thought everyone at that table overreacted incredibly. But, like, that was a really weird scene. Should we sit together?
It was a very forced scene.
No,
very
yes.
forced.
And then, like, they all sat together like, oh my god, this is so awkward. like you just wanted, like, that guy to, like, come up behind him and just be like, awkward. Like, it was a really weird scene, and I definitely agree. It felt forced. It really felt like they were trying to make you feel uncomfortable with them.
Well, and Oliver being this guy that has, as you have pointed out, been more strategic of a Green Arrow than you've ever seen before. Am I right that you said that?
Oh, absolutely. Especially did that thing with prison.
Oh, yeah, which was awesome. That guy, and I'm still waiting for the show to get back to that, because that was awesome. I mean, that kind of storytelling. how is it that a guy that is that strategic in how he operates as a superhero or a vigilante or whatever you want to call him is this unstrategic to tell his new girlfriend all about how he slept around with this other girl and how it messed with his whole life and how he ruined his girlfriend's life over it and everything, and then he has them all sit at a table together when he easily could have avoided that. How is he that ridiculously stupid?
Well, see, I saw it kind of differently. Because I was like, okay, he said all this stuff, and I thought it was like a Tony Stark moment of like, look, I used to be a bad guy, I'm trying to be better. And then, like, when she's there, it was just so weird that like, she was like, wait, so you two used to date, and now you're dating? And they were like, yeah. And she was like, really? And you think that this is gonna work? And it was just, I felt like she acted weird about it. Like, I got that him telling about, how he cheated on her. I took that more as like I used to be not such a good person. I used to be, I used to do this kind of stuff. I don't do that now. It was not therapeutic, but more of almost like a confession kind of a thing.
It was kind of a confession, and of course he wanted to show her their similar backgrounds and how they're kind of the same, and in a much better way, I think, than she said at the previous episode, where she had that very unbelievably awkward line where she said, "We're the same, you and I," and I'm like, first of all, no one talks like that, and second of all, the way you said it was ridiculous. But anyway, no,
I was waiting for the moment in this episode where she was like, "You remember when I said you're the same, you and I?" And it flashes back, "We're the same, you and I."
I think you're right that that's the reason that he brings that up. But again, it just seems to me like if it were me, I don't think I would then I would then like purposefully put myself in a situation where she might put two and two together and figure out that the girl I was talking about is the one that she's sitting across from. I don't know. It just seems like that would overly complicate things, even if you didn't suspect that she would react the way she did, which is admittedly, I think, somewhat of an overreaction, although she's not totally wrong either, but it was an overreaction. But then, I just think that this episode is so super uneven in how it plays all of this.
On the other side of that table, I thought Laurel's reaction was insane. Like, I was like, human beings don't act like that? Like I don't know what she was, like, upset about and stormed off about.
No, I don't. I guess she was just upset because Oliver's dating someone. Well, in fact, she was, because then she says to Merlin, she's like, well, am I supposed to be okay with it? I'm like, well, why not? You've got a boyfriend now. Who cares? Like, I don't understand.
Do you remember like 3 episodes ago when we were being mature adults about this?
I was going to say, I thought she was more adult than this, and now we have degenerated into a show that forgive me, looks like it should be on the CW. And more we find ourselves saying this, where at the beginning of the series we were going, man, this is cool. This looks like it could be on a different network, and a network we like better than CW. And now these characters that we thought were kind of grown up are acting like children, and that's not what I want to see.
Yeah, I feel like episodes 4 and 5 were such like high highs, and now like I'm like, do I really want to still watch this show? Like it's weird because I feel like there's the glimmers of good.
Yeah, and let me say that the biggest glimmer here is Diggle. His voice of reason thing in this works for me 100%. And that final scene that he and Oliver have in the diner, I think is really good. I liked it a lot, and I like. I don't know. If this is supposed to be the message of the episode, I guess it's somewhat heavy-handed, but I like it where he says this line about how love isn't about trying to fix someone. Love is finding somebody that is already compatible with you. I liked all of that.
Yeah, I thought that was really good.
I thought that was wise and mature, and something that more people should probably hear that are in these kinds of messed up relationships.
I feel like he's the only character in the show that's not being written by the writers of the episodes.
I feel like you're right. Maybe he's the only character that seems consistent through and through. I can't think of a single point where I felt like he was written out of character.
No, he's always kind of been very the same, no matter who was writing the episodes. When the episodes were good, he was kind of the same. When the episodes were bad, he was kind of the same.
Maybe he writes his own dialogue.
Stationary. Maybe, or maybe they're like, hey, we kind of want you to give this sentiment, and then he just improvs it.
Yeah, that's what they do. He's just that good. What do you feel about the stuff with Walter?
I feel like they have no idea what to do with that. I feel like
Me
they wanted
neither.
to bring him back, and then like,
They
oh
should've
wait,
left
there's
him
all of
gone.
this stuff
Like-
he left because of. We have to kind of deal with that, don't we?
Yeah.
We can't just have him come back. What do you mean?
I
He wants to see his wife. Isn't that enough for you people?
I'm starting to think that this girl, this researcher that works for him, is going to become more and more of a big character.
Yeah, I've been seeing that too. I'm like, she's in this a lot, and she's cute and kind of funny. So like, I'm kind of interested to know if she was like one of those people where like she showed up on set and they like really liked her, so they just kept her around.
It does kind of feel like that, yeah.
Yeah, like I think like maybe she wasn't part of the grand scheme of things, but like they just like her, so they keep bringing her back up.
Did you find it somewhat of a stretch that in one scene she's in danger of maybe getting fired? In the next scene, she thinks maybe she's getting fired, and then at the like seconds later, he gives her an assignment that says she might get killed, and she just goes with it.
Yeah,
I wondered about that.
I also thought the thing where she like I forget what exactly she says, but then she's like, that sounded a lot less dirty in my head. Usually I'm better at that. And I'm like, who talks like that to their boss?
Well, maybe she was just nervous. I gotta be honest with you, I actually thought that was kind of funny.
I'm not saying it wasn't funny, but I don't know, like I was like, that seems.
Because the line was well, I don't know. Maybe the whole like that sounded dirty was, you know, maybe not the way it should have been written. But the line she had, I thought, was really funny, where she said, "We're gonna have to turn the lights off if we're gonna do this." I think maybe the problem was I think maybe the problem was that the comedic beat didn't work. Like there wasn't enough of a pause. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the comic timing was off. But I saw what they were trying to do.
It was like one sentence.
Yeah, it happened too fast where, like, you didn't get a chance to like, digest the joke. But, man, the joke was funny. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like, I don't know, all the Walter stuff, I really felt like, I was like, why is this scene here? Like, we the audience, didn't learn anything. Narratively speaking, there was no reason for these scenes to be here.
And once again, like you keep saying, the payoff for this evil stuff going on in the background is going to have to be freaking huge, because apparently if anybody even remotely looks into it at all, they just are never heard from again.
Yeah.
There's like this giant conspiracy going on.
Boom tube's open, and they get sucked to Apocalypse.
Yes, that's what happens, and then we get your famous baby eating plot, right?
Yeah, I saw a lot of comments like people like, yes, that's what their evil plot should be.
That's what they're doing. They're feeding babies to Darkseid. Wow.
But well, can we talk about Merlin in this episode? Because I thought he was better than last episode. I thought his character arc was dumb. The idea of having to come to the point where he can come to Ollie, because based on who he's been previous to this episode, I feel like that would have been his first thing to do.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I wondered about that at the end, where I was like, okay, so what they're telling us is that if you're rich enough so that you've never had to work in your entire life, it comes
Your
off
first
as
thought isn't,
really,
hey, my rich friend is running a business.
Yeah, it comes off as the really, really, really responsible thing to do if you actually go to your friend and ask him for a job and not for money.
Well, what was weird was I felt like, I guess between the last episode and this episode, he matured as a person so that he would feel awkward about asking for a job, so that he could learn the lesson that it's okay to ask for a job from your friend. Like I felt like he matured so that he could revert, so that he could get to the point that he would have been last episode.
Yeah,
Although
and I also
I
thought it
love
was
the
weird
line
at the end where he was like, well, the old me would have just asked for part of your trust fund, but the new me is going to ask for a job. Never mind the fact that, if he was like really that worried about his personal integrity, maybe he would, I don't know, try to go on his own steam and not go to his best friend who could just immediately give him a really good job with dental. I don't know, man.
I thought the dental line was kind of funny. Not the actual question, but the answer of, I'll look into it.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny, but I actually really liked the line, your trust fund, or my trust fund is your trust fund.
Yeah, I like that too. I don't know, maybe I'm being somewhat unfair. I mean, maybe for a guy like this is just a step in the right direction, and so, I shouldn't question it so much, but it seemed a bit strange to me. But that might just be my sensibilities. Because, I mean, I don't know what it's like. To be fair, I don't know what it's like to be, rich your whole life and never have to work ever and have no skill set. And
to be fair, the writers don't know what it's like to be rich for your entire life.
To be that rich, you're right. No, they don't. Clearly.
There's a Joe Casey quote when he talks about writing Iron Man where he goes, this is all made up. He goes, no one who's ever written a comic book has any idea what it's like to be to these kind of events or be this smart.
Well, don't you think that's part of the reason that so many comic book characters are really rich is because the people that invented them were, living vicariously through them?
No, I always assume so many comic book characters are rich because it makes plots easier.
Well, I think that's part of it too. But with a fantasy story and with an escapist kind of thing, I think that part of the fun of writing it is putting yourself in the shoes of something you've always wanted to be, and it's kind of a romantic idea to have that much money and then use it to help people.
Which is very revealing about the fact that everyone wants to write Batman, but nobody wants to write Superman. Who wants to be the godly alien? I mean, let's be honest here. When you can just be a rich guy who sleeps around to deal with morals and stuff. I felt like a lot of scenes in this episode were really good, self-contained. If I ignored the rest of the episode and the rest of the series, like the Huntress Green Arrow scene where he shows her how look, you didn't have to kill anybody. That's a great scene straight out of a comic book. That scene makes no sense in this series.
The scene where he is showing her how to shoot a bow and arrow is really good.
I really like that scene.
I really like where she doesn't get the point of it, and she's like, "Why am I learning this like not very?" I forget how she puts it, but she's like, it's easier to shoot people with guns. Why am I doing this?
Which is weird because she was using a crossbow last episode, but
oh, was she? I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But I thought it was fun when she was like throwing stuff up in the air, and Ollie was like, I could do this all day. This is fun. I don't know. That was very comic book Green Arrow to me.
Yeah, no. There's a lot of scenes standalone that I really thought were all right. And then I feel like this is something where I don't feel it's not even like the parts don't equal the sum type of a thing. It's more like the parts are fine without everything else. It's not even like, it's good parts that don't redeem like a bad episode. It's good parts that don't make sense with the rest of the show.
No, and I felt like it was struggling really hard to be cohesive. There were a lot of places where I felt like the writers were struggling to decide what exactly Helena's deal was. Well, not even that. I felt like they were struggling to make her point be sympathetic because she was so extreme in this idea of I want to kill my dad so bad I won't even let him go to jail. I'm going to kill him before he goes there. Like it was so extreme that she has these lines about again revenge and justice being the same thing, and then gets to a place at the end where she finally even kind of takes a step back and says, yeah, okay, I guess it was just revenge all along. I'm like, well, yeah, you said it was revenge all along, but you also thought that that's what it needed to be. And I really hate that scene where Oliver tells her that she's just trying to get back at her dad. And she has that irritating TV kind of line, and I forget exactly what it is, where she basically says, I'm not just trying to get back at him, I'm doing this. And then what she said was just another way of wording trying to get back at him.
Yeah.
I hate that.
I I also don't know why she left.
I still don't know why she left either. I'm with you.
And they're like, she'll be back someday. I'm like, why did she go? Like, why won't she be back tomorrow? Like, I don't understand. Like, you know what this entire episode feels like?
What's that?
A first draft.
That's what I was. That's why I said I thought the writers were struggling.
Yeah, it really felt like they knew the. Maybe that's it. They know the ideas that they want to hit, but they didn't like really think it out or refine it. It just kind of like they're just like, okay, and then this happens and this happens. I'm like, I don't know. It wasn't. It didn't work altogether, and it worked even less as an episode of this series.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's frustrating because, like you said, a lot of the individual things work, and a lot of the fan service stuff works. I like that at the end she rides off on a motorcycle.
Yeah, I love that. It looks cool visually too.
Yeah, it looked really good. And again, the action in this show has been great. Like the production values are still pretty
Once
up there.
again, China White shows up with like 2 lines.
Yep.
I don't know why she keeps showing up. I don't know why we still haven't heard her say. Well, we haven't heard anybody say her name because I just want to know how to pronounce it. Just straight from having read Green Arrow Year One, like I want to know how to pronounce her name because it's something Chinese, and they make fun of the fact that Green Arrow pronounces it China White. That's not what it is. I don't know how you actually pronounce it. But I did kind of like this. I kind of liked when Huntress goes in and the guy says something, and it's subtitled, so we know what he says. She goes, I don't speak Chinese. I thought that was funny. Because usually when they subtitle it, the idea is like she knows what he said, and so that we know what he said.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But here, like, we know what he said. She's just like, I don't speak Chinese. I thought that was kind of funny. I don't know. I don't want to say this was a bad episode, but I kind of feel like it was.
I don't think it's bad. I think it's just confused. Because it's irritating because so much of the dialogue is better written than the show has been for a while, but then the plotting wasn't there.
Hey, there were no pop culture references this time.
Also, no island stuff once again.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even catch that one, honestly. I didn't even think about that.
Which I guess is consistent if this is kind of a two-parter, because it sure feels like it.
But that bothers me because I felt like they set up that I didn't feel like all that island stuff, especially the last time we flashed back to the island. I didn't feel like all of that was like, okay, and now this story is done, let's get back to...
No, it's never felt like that. And I feel like we still kind of have put a tab there, and we're supposed to remember things, and then it's going to come back.
Yeah, you know, everyone keeps talking, or keeps telling us that we need to watch, like, the previews and stuff, and we both said that we didn't,
Oh, yeah, and I forgot to look at it for next time.
I checked Hulu, and they do not have the previews. But my friend at work who watched the show, he told me that I guess in the preview for next episode, there's a bad Archer.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So.
Well, I guess we can look forward to that.
Yeah. Hopefully it picks back up next episode. I don't have high hopes because I'm pretty sure. Let me check. Yep. It is still the guys that made the show writing the scripts, but the episode after that is not.
Oh, all right. Cool.
So.
Well, everybody, we'll see you again next time, and I guess we'll talk about whoever this Dark Archer is, so that'll be fun. Well, thanks a lot for listening to Arrow Discussions, and we'll see you next time. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.